Hey, and welcome to another installment of Catching Up with Chris, Jake, and Sam. I'm Sam.
I'm Chris.
I'm Jake.
And, so, I don't know. I feel like the last couple episodes I've started talking about my shitty basement. It's no longer shitty.
Yay!
Yeah, they had to crack open my foundation and replace the pipe because a gigantic-ass tree root had grown into it, and they poured cement, and now it's all done. Hopefully. God, I've got like a...
I mean, you've gone almost a week without any incident, so
It's...
about half a week, maybe?
Well, since the last overflow, it's been since like Monday of last week.
Yeah.
Has it? I don't know. All the days kind of blurred together.
In
I surprisingly-
one just shitty heap.
Surprisingly slept through the jackhammering.
Yeah, it wasn't as loud as I thought it would be.
No,
Yeah.
it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's over. It's done. I don't have to deal with hopefully shitty floors and shitty carpet and shitty smells for a while.
Yeah.
So that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, and Chris here, of course, cat sat my cats.
Mm-hmm.
How'd that go?
Not bad. They mostly hid underneath my dresser, and then I brought the Roomba back into this room to, clean up the cat hair, since I am fairly sensitive to cat dander. Clearly not allergic, because I was able to spend a whole 24 hours in this more or less in the same room as them and not have any kind of reaction, which is nice. I thought I was allergic, but
Maybe.
I guess it's just dirty cats.
Sure.
Or like I've had a quick allergic reaction to Maine Coons, which I hear are the worst cats to be around if you are allergic. So I guess it's just a sensitivity.
Yeah. I mean, Shemp's a short hair.
Yeah.
Jordy's weird. Jordy, I don't think he's got long hair, but he's not a long hair, but he sheds a bit more.
Yeah, but I used a lint roller on the bed every time they hopped up on the bed, and
Which was often for Shemp.
Yeah.
It's because he loves just to pour over those surfaces with his bulbous body.
Yeah, but they were pretty much no problem. Just kept them in this room the entire time.
Much obliged. Now, I remember last week I was talking about I was starting to decorate my office, and I was like, yeah, I've got Leonardo and from the Ninja Turtles and Hong Kong Phooey, one of my favorite Hanna-Barbera characters. Who are some of your guys' favorite Hanna-Barbera characters? Like, I know that's a very broad question, because that's everything from like Space Ghost to like Yogi Bear.
Yogi Bear, man.
It's pretty much every cartoon I watched except minus all the Looney Tunes and Disney characters.
Yeah. Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite person in the world?
Yeah.
I think I'll go with the Scooby Gang.
Yeah.
Specifically probably Scooby and Shaggy.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, I'll go with the Scoops.
I've always thought about getting like because over at the comic book shop they've got like the Flintstones pop figures. They've got Fred and Barney, and it's always like, well, they also have Frankenstein Jr., and it's like, who the fuck? Probably why they still have it.
Exactly why they still have it.
Because nobody would think to pick up Fred. And I always ask one of your coworkers, Jake, was like, hey, could you order me a Huckleberry Hound? And
Oh yeah, you gotta send me a text to remind me.
I'll send you a text.
We're doing that stuff now. So.
Yeah. But I remember we had brought up last week the possibility of that there was no Dragon Ball Z.
Fucking heinous.
Yeah, we brought up this. So there's
Funko.
Fuck
you, Funko.
There's a line of Dragon Ball Z pop figures, and they don't have. And I can confirm now, having had a week to research this, and I actually did.
Sad.
There is no pop figures for Krellin or Master Roshi, who are basically pop figures.
Oh yeah, Master. And again, my knowledge of Dragon. I don't even have a knowledge of Dragon Ball Z. I have a knowledge of Dragon Ball, which is like half of. Did we finish the first season?
Yeah, we're in season 2. We haven't watched it for like 2 months.
Yeah,
we need to get back in on that.
We've had some shit to deal with.
Literal.
And some Lego Batman to complete on 100%, by the way.
Yeah.
Lego Batman 3. And
Beyond Gotham.
Yes. Basically Green Lantern Lego. I love Master Roshi and I love Krillin. Krillin's my favorite character by far. And it's funny because
the perpetual whipping boy.
He is, but like
Goku. I beat up Bruce Lee.
Is he the one who fights Bruce Lee?
Yeah.
Okay.
I beat Bruce Lee.
But like it's funny. when I say oddly emotional about a character, it wasn't like I was like crying about Krillin, but like there were some moments that I was like oddly touched by Krillin, and it's like this little chode character. And it's like little kids kind of show thing, and I was just
no
like,
neck.
He's
No
got no
nose.
neck. He's just a chode head with chode arms, and chode legs, and a chode midsection. But like he's like this great little character, and like I'm always a sucker for a good friendship in anything, like comics or movies or anything. And theirs is one of the all-time greats from what I've heard. I mean, I haven't
It kind of falls by the wayside in Z.
Yeah, but it's important, at least the limited stuff I've watched, that you see them. Goku's almost like this, like he's not dumb, but like he's just so
Very
naive,
naive
to things, and Krillin is not. He's a little more grounded because he's closer because he's a chode.
Yeah.
So
has his own supply of
how many times gonna say chode?
Of porno mags.
It's your boner.
Yeah, it's so funny. Yeah, chode's a funny word.
Chode is your boner.
But he they kind of like strike. They start as like kind of like rivals, and they kind of become these friends, and then they have the first tournament. Like they really help each other out and stuff, and Krillin kind of discovers his powers when he goes up against the other, like, was it monks or whatever, who like always pick on him, because he's a small kind of guy, and he's like
the runt,
and he just kicks the fuck out of the one he goes against.
Goku's like, maybe you don't have to hold back against this one.
Yeah, and he doesn't, and he like knocks him through like buildings.
Yeah,
and then there's some other stuff like spoilers, but there's some stuff where like you think Goku dies. And you get the end of one of the episodes, and Krillin's like, "Goku, don't leave me," and he's just like, because like he thinks he's dead, and it's kind of sad. Like I was like oddly touched by that moment in between all the ridiculousness of that show.
Yeah,
but it's fun. I mean,
and then later on in the series or one of the other series, he grows hair, and it's just
at
weird.
the last 3 seasons of Z, he gets married, and so he gives up his monkly vows or his monastic vows so he can grow his hair out. Which, as growing up, I just thought he was just a naturally bald.
Yeah, just naturally bald guy. Yeah, I didn't know he was like part of like a monk thing. I just
Well, he's got the burns.
Yeah, I just thought
he's got the Dragon Ball dots.
I just thought that was like his thing, But anyway, yeah, it's sad because you would think like the pop figures. It's like they designed them off of Krillin's body because like they are like these small little like bald chode things. I was trying to say it anymore, but like they are like everyone I think knows, most people, especially if you like listening to us, you're into these kind of things. You know what a pop figure is. He like lends himself perfectly, especially the Dragon Ball one, because he does kind of grow. He becomes more adult like.
Yeah, he gets a neck.
Has arms.
By the end of Dragon Ball.
Has arms and legs.
Working joints. Yeah.
Yeah, but. Yeah, that's a super bummer. That I mean, there has to be one down the line.
I don't know how popular that one is. I've never seen that one at the shop.
Dragon Ball ones?
Yeah.
Well, we get a lot of the stuff a little bit later. Like some places, Hot Topic, I know has like deals with Funko and stuff.
Oh, really?
So they get a lot. Like I've seen Beetlejuice ones. I've seen Beavis and Butthead ones at Hot Topic. Like
I need to
Hot Topics. Hot Topic. Do they have
and Midtown Comics will get them too. Like they have. They're like a licensed distributor or whatever you want to call it.
They have Earth 2 Batman. They have like all kinds of ones. It's awesome.
I had got them at because I think I kind of hinted at it last time. I'm trying to get all the classic Universal monsters.
Yeah.
They've got Dracula, Frankenstein, Bride of Dracula, the Mummy, the Wolfman, the Creature from the Black Lagoon.
And your favorite being Dracula, right? Of the classic Universal, would you say?
Yeah, he's my yes.
Okay.
Long story short, yes.
Okay. You don't want to go off into like a long thing like I just did about Dragon Ball?
I can, but I mean, what other Universal horror? The only one that comes close would be what, Frankenstein in terms
for
of
you.
Well, in terms of cultural impact.
Oh, for cultural impact, I mean the Wolfman as well.
Yeah,
but it's definitely Dracula and Frankenstein's monster.
Dracula and Frankenstein. Yeah.
I mean, in terms of quality of film, still probably Dracula, though Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein are fucking awesome movies. And that's what started it all. But in terms of like pop figures, in terms of how visually striking they are, I mean, Dracula is just like, he looks like Count Chocula, just discount like. Yeah. I mean, I guess the archetype the visual really was set by Bela Lugosi's portrayal.
Yeah.
So it is kind of to be expected, but like visually, I was more drawn to, they have the Metaluna mutant from the Silent Earth, which I never equated as a Universal monster.
Me neither.
Because he was part of the the sci-fi wave, like the post the post Forbidden Planet
Yeah.
science fiction stuff. And of course, Creature from the Black Lagoon, visually very striking.
I love that one. Yeah,
that's Guillermo del Toro's favorite because he was
Nice.
just like he was just this weird swamp creature, that's right in his wheelhouse. So I've been, and the comic book store in Fair Oaks. I don't really go there for comics. I go for you guys for the comics.
Thanks.
But they've got like such a big selection of pop figures.
Yeah,
and they had like all of them on sale except for two of the most visually striking, which is to say the Wolfman and the Phantom of the Opera. And I was like, well, someday.
Yeah.
Someday.
The thing that's great about the pop figures, and I think one of the reasons they're so such a big hit with people, is because there's very little to work with, and they're minimalistic, but they look, you know what I mean? Like they'll have something where just an eyebrow's raised a bit,
Yeah.
or they have like an eyes, like the eyes are kind of like kind of looks like they're kind of like closed or sleepy, something.
Yeah.
Just because like I have the Eli Manning pop figure. 'Cause I'm a huge Giants fan.
So he always looks sleepy?
He looks kind of sleepy. Kind of looks like, you can't tell if he threw an interception or a touchdown. That's the great thing about Eli Manning face. But, you can take his helmet off and like stuff like that. That's so cool. Like, I have a couple. They have like a Rocky Balboa one, which I was showing you.
Oh,
like,
wow. Yeah.
I don't know if they have ones based off all the movies. Probably not, because if it was up to us, they would. They'd have the Rocky 2 with the different trunks and of course the Rocky 4.
Did you ever play that Rocky game where you could be all the Rockies?
Oh, like on GameCube?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great game. It's weird because Rocky 5, you actually do the street fight.
Yeah.
But when you choose Rocky 5 in the game to actually fight, you're not like Street Rocky. You have like the American flag pants, but you look kind of like an older Stallone, kind of.
Yeah.
I'd always use the first Rocky because that's my favorite. With the white and the red. It's a red stripe. What is it? It's red pants with a white stripe.
Yeah. And and there, David's just like, who the fuck cares?
Yeah. I'm sure you'll do a good show. But they have the first Rocky one, which I would love to get my hands on. I have a couple.
How much they like appreciate and value too.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, here's the thing, because at the time of this recording, I have a Ghost Rider one on its way.
Yeah.
Which I thought would be a lot of money because it was out of print. I couldn't get it through our shop. And a lot of times I found that one of the reasons they're expensive, like the really good ones, is their mold. You can't reuse it. There's certain ones that you can. I found out the Rocketeer one I have, it's only like $15 more, but that's one that's fairly rare because that's a mold I guess they don't use as much.
Sure.
And the Rocketeer is one of my favorite things of all time, so of course I have that one. And he has the gum on his rocket pack, which is funny.
Nice.
If you think about it, there's a similar shape between his helmet and the Iron Giant.
Yeah, there is. The Iron Giant has a dent in his head too, which I have as well. But yeah, going back to your thing, I have the Ghost Rider one on its way, which actually was the same price getting out of eBay. I have the Hawkman one. It's like the original Hawkman, $160
on eBay.
Now, to give you guys an example, if you don't know how much these things cost, they're $10.99. This Hawkman, why is he so popular all of a sudden? Maybe not popular, but he's $160. I just want him. He looks so cool.
Because people were confusing him with Birdman.
Probably. It's cool. But
if they ever get a Space Ghost one, I'm all about that Space Ghost.
That's the thing. As long as pop culture is a thing, pop figures will exist. It's amazing. I think they're so cool. Like
I'm surprised how many different ones there are for just The Walking Dead.
Oh yeah,
it's like zombie that was in like this episode.
Here was my problem when I was getting the Walking Dead one, because this will probably sound. I've probably said this before. My favorite character in The Walking Dead was the Governor. Not because I liked what he did, but I just thought he was a great villain. More so the TV show than the comic book.
Yeah. It's possible to like the villains without condoning their actions.
Yes, thank you. Yes. And I like David Morrissey.
Whoa!
But
it's possible to like Darth Vader, even though he blows up an entire fucking planet.
Yeah, he's my favorite character in Star Wars too. I mean, now it's getting weird.
Just because he's got a mask.
Well, he's a great character from start to finish.
He's such a sweet guy.
Well, I like Yoda too. It's him and Yoda. Ask me on any day. It's between those two. Anyway, going back to what the fuck was I talking about? Pop figures.
Yes.
And
you were talking.
The Walking Dead. Thank you.
Yes.
So when the Walking Dead figures came out, and I wasn't working at the shop yet, but we've been going for a while as just customers. They have the Governor, they have the eye patch one, and they have the one where it's like the cloth on his face, the cloth on his eye. And they also have like blood splatter ones, stuff like that. And I was trying to think, like, this was an actual problem in my life at the time. I was like, which one do I get, like the cloth one or the eye patch? And I had the eye patch one, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so many Walking Dead ones, like the ones for different walkers, Michonne's pets. The Michonne one's really cool. The Tyrese one's really cool because he's one of my favorite characters now on the show. Of course, he's got his hammer and stuff. But yeah, it's amazing. Like it's always fun to look in the previews what the latest pop figure series is coming out. Like they're doing like the giant size X-Men kind of pop figures, like the Wolverine in your shirt. They're definitely having that one, which is the classic yellow one. I know you guys can't see it, but guess which Wolverine it is.
It's X-Force, you idiots.
Yeah. They need to do like Old Man Logan. That'd be cool. Well, I was joking, like how great would it be like Clint Eastwood ones, like Dirty Harry,
Eastwood Legends.
yeah, like Man with No Name.
Because you kicked the Nicolas Cage habit.
Nicolas Cage, shook it, man. I think if you guys listen to the last two podcasts, but especially last week's, I kind of like convinced myself to stop doing it on the podcast. And it's nothing new to Nicolas Cage. I have a newfound respect for the genius and the insanity that is Nicolas Cage, because like I said, I probably never would have seen Weatherman if it wasn't for the Nicolas Cage-a-thon, because I love that movie. I thought it was a really great movie, and revisiting some other ones and revisiting some watching some not so good ones. I will get to Vampire's Kiss eventually. I knew that was the one I was always saying I would get to, but I just got home and I was like, I just don't want to do this. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to watch Nicolas Cage. Give it a break. And then we had seen American Sniper, which was directed by Clint Eastwood, and we got talking about Clint Eastwood movies. And one of my favorite genres of anything is the Western, and you can't love Westerns and not love Clint Eastwood. I mean, he's synonymous with it. So it was something where, unlike Nicolas Cage, I own a lot of Clint Eastwood movies, and so it's very easy for me to just pop on a Clint Eastwood movie. And
I own 6, 2 of which are his highest grossing movies.
That's right. Before we reveal what they are, unless you know what they are already, you Clint Eastwood fans out there. So I kind of like
those playing along at home.
Yeah, those Clint Eastwood fans playing at home. Clint Eastwood, if you're listening at home, playing along. But
or what's his son's name?
Scott.
Yeah, Scott Eastwood. If you're listening at home,
but
Sam loves you.
I love Scott Eastwood too. I do. And have you seen Scott Eastwood? He's a good-looking guy. He's awesome.
He has just like the Zac Efron effect for you.
Yeah,
like,
I would pitch hint for Zac Efron.
Definitely,
if you know what I mean.
I would,
and I understand Scott Eastwood.
Absolutely,
they're very similar body types.
Sure.
I think Eastwood looks a little bit more mature. Zac Efron still has that like boyish.
Yeah, I want that.
Why are we talking about
anyway?
Scott?
Anyway,
my dad listens to the show, and he always like comes up to me and jokes about how gay we sound. I think
we don't hide it.
There's nothing gay about liking Scott Eastwood.
There's
acknowledging that he is a beautiful man is not gay.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with being gay.
There's nothing wrong.
Nothing wrong with being
at
gay.
all.
Okay, Seinfeld.
Yeah,
and
and like fact.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, yes, fact over just the Seinfeld quote. So I was like, Sam and I were kind of talking on the way home, like, the Clint Eastwood, blah blah blah, and who doesn't love Clint Eastwood? So it was, I guess that Monday we were cleaning out some stuff or getting ready to clear out for the.
Oh yeah, we were moving
jackhammering
furniture to get ready for.
Yeah, and Sam, lovely Sam, with Clint Eastwood, he would always bring up Any Which Way But Loose, which is
Every Which Way But Loose.
Thank you. Which is my mom's favorite Clint Eastwood movie, and
apparently the movie going public too.
Yeah, seriously. And so Sam was like, "Hey, do you want to watch that to start the Clint Eastwood, the Clintathon?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why not? It's Clint Eastwood. Why not?
It's his highest grossing movie if you adjust for inflation.
Grossing movie. This is the guy who's Dirty Harry. He was in the Man with No Name trilogy. He was the Unforgiven, $1 Million Baby,
Josie Wales.
Yeah, Gran Torino.
Yeah.
Absolute
Power, Pink Cadillac,
In the Line of Fire,
Paint Your Wagon,
Return of the Creature,
Return of the Creature, Trouble with the Curve, Invictus.
Oh man, he directed Invictus.
Mystic River.
Yeah.
He's got he's directed 34 movies. We can go on forever. Just directed. Anyway. Play Misty for me. So
The Beguiled.
Yeah, that's right. What's the one you always the Iger Sanction?
No, the Iger Sanction. Where
we go.
Eagles Dare.
Where Eagles freaking dare.
If you're a Misfits fan,
or a Castle Wolfenstein fan.
yes, where Eagles Dare.
Yes. So anyway, out of all those lovely films we just
Now that
named,
we've gone through his entire IMDb.
out of all
Joe Kidd,
that's right, Hang 'em High,
Bronco Billy,
Bronco Billy,
Bridges of Madison County, where you see him bang Meryl Streep for like 2 hours.
Perfect World with Kevin Costner,
Where he doesn't bang Kevin Costner for 2 hours.
he doesn't. It's actually a really sad ending.
Unfortunately.
Yeah,
That's why I didn't win Best Picture.
that's right. That's so right. Oh, The Bird starring or Bird, not The Bird. Bird starring what's his face who won the Glass King of Scotland?
Oh, Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker. Thank you. Anyway, so yes, Clint Eastwood is the man, and we love Clint Eastwood. But Sam was like, "Let's start the Clintathon with this," and I was
Let's
like,
start it right.
"I was like, okay, fine." And I thought he owned it already, like on DVD. And so we go.
I do. It's in my trunk.
Okay. And
But
so
my sister still got all of her stuff in my trunk. So rather than just removing the stuff
this
from my
is how
trunk,
much Sam loves this movie.
Yeah.
He owns it already, which I've done this plenty of times.
but
too.
I don't just own it. I bought it in the highest possible resolution.
HDX, and I watched Sam with a glint in his eye and a grin on his face and a heart on in his pants. Purchase Every Which Way But Loose.
Yeah, I just love that in the beginning. So they play the theme song, which is this like shitty but catchy
It is
country
very catchy
song.
because if you've ever seen that movie, it's still in there somewhere in
Yeah.
your brain.
Every Which Way But Loose. And then he goes into a bar, eats some dude's peanuts, and he's like, "Hey, fuck you, those are my peanuts." He crushes the peanuts, which isn't that hard to do.
It's not.
While flexing.
Yeah.
Punches him, he hits the jukebox, and then the theme.
And what's funny here, like everybody starts up again, and he hits it every which way but loose, and it was almost like the movie took a break for him to eat peanuts, and then we kicked right back into what we've always been doing. So the movie's not very good.
Yeah.
If it was, I had never seen it before. I was always under the impression that it was like this cross country trucker movie with Clint Eastwood and an orangutan in it, just the two of them. If it was just the two of them, it actually would have been really fun.
Yeah, and whenever he's on the screen or whenever Clyde's on the screen, it's great.
Yeah, and the famous scene that if you've ever seen like a Clint Eastwood montage or like a Lifetime Achievement thing or anything or a trailer, the scene they always show, which is funny, is when he pretends to have a gun on Clyde.
Finger gun,
The
yeah.
finger gun on which is used a lot in Gran Torino.
Yeah.
On Clyde the orangutan, and he's like bang, and he shoots him, and Clyde pretends to die, and it's actually a really like funny scene, and but the movie is not that. The movie is not like this kind of cross country, just the two of them, kind of as buddies. It's more of I don't know what the hell it is. Like he comes across a neo-Nazi gang of bikers.
Yeah.
He kicks the shit out of them.
Yeah, and they
he
show up in
really
the sequel, too.
He kicks the shit out of everyone he comes across in that movie. If there's like anything not cool about
He's
that
either
person,
having sex or fighting.
yeah. And then
To be fair, it is Clint Eastwood. I feel like that's probably how he lives his life.
I mean, possibly,
With
He
an
does
orangutan.
he does have at least 8 children.
yeah.
That
One of
we
them,
know.
one of them being Scott Eastwood.
At least. Yeah.
One of them being Scott Eastwood.
Oh, Scott Eastwood.
Yeah,
Yeah. Great job in Fury. Great
yeah,
job in
very
Fury.
good job.
Great job in Invictus.
Yeah,
Even-
you get yelled at by your dad in Gran Torino. It's really funny.
Yeah, he calls you what, a pussy?
A pussy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shut up, pussy. And when you know that it's his son, it's just funny. I don't know. It's just funny. But yeah, and good job. What was he got in a fight with Shia LaBeouf and Brad
Shia
Pitt?
LaBeouf, yeah.
And Brad Pitt was like kind of our bad because like it's in the script. He's supposed to be doing that.
Yeah.
But he was spitting on the tank and
Spitting tobacco juice on the tank. And, of course, in Fury is about these guys that become the tank's their home.
Yeah.
And so they, true to life, because the director basically had him live in the tank,
Yep.
they were like, what the fuck, man? Why are you spitting on... They,
Mhm.
like, confronted him. And he's like, check the script.
Yeah.
And you, like, look at the script, and he's like, yeah, he spits.
Scott Eastwood like script checked Brad Pitt. Yeah, that's awesome. But so yeah, we watched Every Which Way But Loose.
I still got Any Which Way You Can.
I mean, one of these days.
I actually think it's better.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I don't know. It's got to be. It doesn't have to be.
Does it end with like a naval choir singing?
Oh yeah,
like
the
the
song?
Spy Who Loved Me.
Every which way but loose. And then it slowly. Does it have this? I'm sure it plays that song. Well, it's not Every Which Way because the sequel is Any Which Way You Can. Right?
Yeah, Any Which Way You Can.
Any which way you
you
can.
can.
And well, it's Glenn Campbell that does the theme to Any Which Way You Can.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And the big draw there is they added this reoccurring plot element where wherever Clint says right turn Clyde while they're in the car, Clyde sticks out his hand and punches whoever's right out the window. And that happens multiple times.
You know, like I said, it's enjoyable when it's the two of them on the screen, and there's some funny things, but you know, it's weird.
I say this, you know, having owned both movies at least twice over. They both kind of suck, but
Yeah.
they're like.
But
I remember I was on the phone with my dad, and I was like, "Yeah, I picked up Every Which Way But Loose and Any Which Way You Can." And there was like a pause, and I was like, "They're both terrible movies." And he's like, "Oh, they're awful, Sam."
Yeah, like you realize I have like your dad basically had like every Western ever for a period.
Yeah,
like
he
on
has,
DVD.
Well, he has almost every single Clint Eastwood movie,
Yeah,
but not those two.
but not those two. And you know, he knew he'd have a son. One
Those
day.
were the as growing up. Those were the ones that you.
The untouchable.
Yeah, those were the holy
The
grail.
Untouchables?
Yeah.
I wish.
But and so I watched I chased it down with Gran Torino, which I watched twice. Which I love. I love
My
that movie.
Gran Torino.
But and then I watched Sudden Impact, which is Dirty Harry 4, which is the Go Ahead Make My Day highest grossing Dirty Harry movie, probably because of that
Only one
line.
he directs.
Yeah. And then I watched High Plains Drifter, which I would say is my favorite Clint Eastwood Western. It's got some craziness going on in there, and it's funny because I was telling Sam when I was watching it, reading all this ghostwriter. It's now that I watch it, kind of he's kind of like the spirit of vengeance in that movie. I mean, he comes back and makes the town pay for
takes
being
out
cowards.
the gang.
Yeah, and renames the town hell, paints it red, and just kicks some serious ass.
And when he's knocking on the door.
Yeah, he doesn't go quite over the top. I miss Nick already, man.
It takes him
so
like
fun.
7 minutes to speak in that movie.
He didn't say anything. Yeah, he kind of just rides in. That's one of the things I love about westerns too. You can have just simple shots of a cowboy or anybody just riding on a horse, and then it's the sound effects. I love the sound effects of a western. The spurs, the gunshots, the
sound of it cocking and everything.
Yeah, the sound of it cocking is always something that can just scare the crap out of someone at a campfire or something.
Yeah.
And just the I don't know. And
For you, it's between what High Plains Drifter and the Unforgiven. Not the Unforgiven. That's a Metallica song that came out before the movie.
Yeah.
Unforgiven.
Yeah, well, for his westerns, I mean, definitely you got to throw The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly in there. I mean, that's
Definitely,
just
yeah.
unreal. I mean, that's like you were saying, not just one of the best westerns, one of the best movies ever made.
Yes. I think it's Tarantino's favorite film.
You can see Tarantino all throughout that movie.
Yeah, especially like in Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah, and Django.
Of course, well, yeah.
Can't wait to see Inglorious or not Inglorious,
Hateful Eight.
Yeah, which is going to be like his love letter to the western.
Oh, I can't wait because there needs to be more westerns in the world. I love a good western, more good westerns.
Yeah.
But
not A Million Ways to Die in the West.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not even extended. Sorry, David Carter.
But yeah. So yeah, and then I watched. I think that was it. Maybe there's one other one I can't remember. But yeah, I love Clint Eastwood movies. It's something where I grew up watching John Wayne movies on VHS.
Yeah, that's the cowboy I grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
Clint Eastwood is something I had to age up for.
Yeah, it was weird because I felt this like progression that it's like I watched John Wayne movies as a kid. I started to go into this John Wayne impression totally on accident. On VHS, that's when I was. That's how far back I was watching John Wayne movies. Couldn't get them on DVD because there wasn't such a thing.
Yeah.
And I love that he had a movie called Big Jake, and I thought that was cool. It's my name. It was.
That's a brutal film.
It
too,
is
as far as John Wayne movies.
And
go.
I remember the thing I loved about John Wayne before I ever watched a John Wayne movie was like he was always the good guy, the clear-cut hero. He never dies. And the first fucking movie I bought and watched was Sands of Iwo Jima, which he dies in. And I remember it like shattered my world. Like I couldn't believe it. Like that had a huge effect on me. It blew my mind. And it's still one of my favorite John Wayne movies.
You know who never dies in movies except for once? Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood. And he's never the bad. Well, the anti-hero, but he's never like straight up the bad guy.
He's never a full-on villain.
No. That would never work anyway. It's Clint Eastwood. But and so then it became this thing where it's next was like I'll watch Clint Eastwood movies. I'll watch those westerns and
the Eiger Sanction.
The Eiger Sanction, Pink Cadillac, which I've never seen. Firefox. That trailer is.
Oh yeah.
Whew, boy. Pause this podcast to watch the Firefox trailer.
Very much in the same generation as like The Last Starfighter and stuff. Yeah.
It's pretty insane. But yeah, so it's fun to rewatch some Clint Eastwood movies, and I don't know. I know you're a big fan of For a Few Dollars More in terms of like the Clint Eastwood Western.
Well, I always loved Leone is one of my favorite directors, just because everything he does. I think it's fair criticism to say some of his movies are slow, but we've talked about our love of 2001, which is also fucking. Because for me, shit doesn't necessarily have to happen if the movie looks great.
Yeah.
Like 2001: A Space Odyssey, like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, like for a few dollars more. It's like.
Well, he directed your favorite Western and he doesn't even have Clint, right?
He was Once Upon a Time in the West, which is, yes, my favorite Western because it is kind of his, like, swan song, even though he came back to do one more with Duck You Sucker.
Oh, yeah, that's
the
right.
worst name of a... Anyway, because he thought the reason he called the movie Duck You Sucker is because he thought that was, like, a big phrase in America at the time. And I think because of, like, a lot of, like, the blaxploitation era films, like, where they're like, you sucker. And
Yeah.
And
in every Dirty Harry movie at some point.
But it's not to the point where you would name your fucking movie Duck You Sucker.
Yeah.
And they say it like 3 or 4 times in the movie, and it's like, why?
Yeah.
It's
weird.
a decent film, though. But, you know, the thing about Leone was a perfectionist, so there was a lot of takes. And I think that's why Eastwood only does like 3 or 4 takes.
Probably, yeah.
His post-production time is like...
He's always either on time or, under
Early.
Budget and early.
Yeah, well, one of his big mantras is if you can't get it right within 3 tries, then you're not good. You're not good enough, or something along those lines.
Then the scene doesn't work. You need to figure it out.
Yeah, you need to fix something.
So by he certainly owes Sergio Leone his career. He said that multiple times, but I think by the end of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, he was just like, I'm done.
Yeah, and I'd always heard that he wanted to bring him back to kill him off in Once Upon a Time in the West.
The original version, first he offered him the lead. He offered him Charles Bronson's role, harmonica, in that film, and he turned it down. And then he was like, wouldn't it be cool if the 3 cowboys waiting for harmonica in the beginning of the film were the 3 title characters from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly?
Yeah.
And when Eastwood turned it down, he's like, well, I don't need Lee Van Cleef or Eli Wallach anymore, which is a shame because I thought, though, what's his name? Jack Elam does a good job with The Fly.
Oh, God, that scene cracks me up so bad. Like, it's like almost unhealthy how much I laughed during that scene.
Yeah. Those eyes. Yeah. And at that point, by the time he had finished production or started production on Once Upon a Time in the West, the Dollars trilogy, or Man with No Name trilogy, if you prefer, had been released in the United States to great commercial acclaim and critical success and all that sort of thing. And so that he did Paint Your Wagon. He did Hang 'Em High.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, it's usually when you think of like the top 3 Eastwood Westerns, it's The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and The Unforgiven, and then your choice for the third one because he's got so many good ones.
Yeah, I would say Josie Wales.
Josie Wales probably because I think, that's the one he directed as well, and it's something that when I say it like knocked the critics' socks off, it wasn't like they didn't think he was capable of that; they just didn't know that was coming. Because
they had seen him direct a Western before.
Exactly, but it is like, what a great movie he just I said last podcast he reinvented the Western twice, but it's almost like every time he would do any Western he would always reinvent it somehow. And a fact that I didn't know about until recently that floored me was the boots he wears in Unforgiven are the same boots he wore in Rawhide, the TV series, which is basically his first Western.
Yes.
So he purposely did that to bookend his Western career with the same pair of boots, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, and then he kept him in working shape because there's like a 3-decade difference.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Much like how, what's his name from Married with Children reads the same newspaper prop in a Modern Family.
Oh, really?
Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. There are people that put like a side-by-side screenshot of him reading the newspaper, and it's the same. I don't know if it's the exact same prop, but it's definitely the same like image on it.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Like positioning and everything.
What about you, Chris, with Clint Eastwood?
Unfortunately, I never really got into westerns per se. I have watched the Man with No Name trilogy, and I'll agree. They look beautiful.
Yeah,
slow as hell.
Yeah.
Certainly the third.
The third one's 3 hours.
Yeah. But like beautiful cinematography in it and a great score.
Oh yeah.
But just the fact that like all of them kind of have that same feel to them.
So they're kind of interchangeable.
Yeah. Well, it was never enough to drive me into watching more of them. You know, like I do want to check out Once Upon a Time in the West, because you did show me the opening scene.
That's the final scene.
Or fine, you showed me the final scene.
I
thought you had said the opening.
I've showed you. I think I've shown you both.
Yeah, but like it looked
so an abridged version. You saw the film.
But you saw the bookends.
Yeah. But like you know, since you praise it so much, I'd like to check out the full feature.
I think it's on Netflix, right? Or it was.
It was.
I don't know.
I mean,
you probably own it anyway. So.
Yeah,
like just twice over.
Yeah. But yeah, and like there are a couple others that here and there I'm like, oh, I probably should check that out, just because the fact that it's a big cultural thing, so I should. But like while you guys were getting into westerns, I was just getting more into sci-fi and stuff like that.
It's what supplanted westerns at the box office in like the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, exactly. And like my dad, when I was a little kid, we had a Betamax machine, because he thought that was going to be the way to go. So he invested a lot into it, and he had like all the Star Wars movies. He had a whole bunch of different sci-fi movies, and of course a bunch of kids movies too. So like that's all I was watching. So I guess I don't know if like he just wasn't into that much Western either, so I wasn't exposed to it, or if he and my mom agreed that they were too violent for kids to watch. So
certainly like the Eastwood stuff.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I just wasn't exposed to it at an early age, and now I can, like I said, I can appreciate how good they look, but I don't want to invest that much time in a whole bunch of movies.
Sure. Now, just because you touched on it earlier, what are your 3 favorite John Wayne westerns? Because that's who I grew up with first. For me, it would be like Rio Bravo, The Searchers, and probably, I'm a big fan of probably it's a toss-up, because those first 2 are just so easy to name.
For me, it was
maybe
weird.
Stagecoach. I don't know.
For me, with
the Comancheros.
With John Wayne, I never really got into the early John Wayne. Like I love True Grit. I love Big Jake. I love the Cowboy. The Cowboys, yeah. But
where he also, for someone who never dies, he also dies hard in the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And of course, he and Clint didn't really see eye to eye on the westerns.
Yeah, well, the funny stories about that is like after Clint Eastwood directed High Plains Drifter and starred in High Plains Drifter, and it was a hit. But it is very controversial for its day, because he's definitely not a John Wayne type in that movie. Like we said, he basically, not basically. I mean, he
townsfolk are depicted as kind of cowardly.
As cowardly, exactly. And so, John Wayne, I guess. Well, Clint Eastwood wrote a letter to John Wayne afterwards saying, "Hey, kind of have the young and the new, or the old and the new star in a western together. Could you imagine a John Wayne and Clint Eastwood movie together?"
Yeah.
And John Wayne was very protective of what he saw as the western genre.
Well, he always admired the frontier spirit.
Mm-hmm.
When Gary Cooper did
High Noon
in that film, if you've never seen it, the another great western for starters.
Yeah. And in real time, right?
Yeah. Gary Cooper's going around asking the townspeople for help because the 3 guys he put in prison have gotten out.
Mm-hmm.
And they're coming back for revenge. And nobody's willing to help him.
Which is kind of exactly what's going on to a point in High Plains Drifter, where it's like you have these 3 guys coming back.
Yeah.
After they murdered the sheriff in front of... They whipped him to death.
Yeah.
In front of everybody and all the townspeople. The great thing about High Plains Drifter, you meet these people throughout the movie, but you see how they react to the death throughout the movie and these flashbacks and these nightmares.
Yeah.
And the great thing is too, there's no exact, correct answer for like who Clint Eastwood is in that movie. Every time I've seen it, it's been somebody else. Is he related to the sheriff? Is he the sheriff? Is he the devil himself? Yeah. There's even a line where they're like, the devil himself is here. Or is he the spirit of vengeance kind of thing? Or is he just a guy? He's just a guy who's pissed and rides into town, you know? Who knows? He's another man with no name kind of thing. And so anyway, yeah, Clint Eastwood saw, High Noon pissed him off back in the day, and then he saw, years later.
Yeah, John Wayne was pissed off by High Noon.
Yeah.
Because he's like, one, the marshal wouldn't look for help.
Mm-hmm.
He should be able to handle his own problems.
Mm-hmm.
Two, if asked, the people wouldn't be cowardly.
Yeah.
They would help him out.
Yeah.
Because he was very protective of that. So when he made Rio Bravo, he kind of... People approach his character, the sheriff. They're like, "Do you need help against this gang?" And he's like, he's always turning them down.
Mm-hmm.
So they're very eager to help, and he's always kind of turning them down. That was his response to High Noon. And yeah, watching these cowardly townsfolk in High Plains Drifter pissed him off even more.
Who pissed him off even more because one, like we had said in the past, Clint Eastwood does have his way with some women in the movie, very unheroic like, and then. Kills a couple guys before they ever draw their guns, which is a big no-no in the early westerns, especially in John Wayne's eyes. And he basically sets his town up for failure. Well, not really. I mean, he teaches them what they need to know, but they're all just like, "Well, you're going to take care of us, so we're not actually going to worry about it." And he leaves them high and dry. They all get screwed, and he comes back and kills the bad guys, and it's awesome. So basically, after that movie, he wrote a letter to John Wayne. It's like, "Hey, let's do a western together." And John Wayne wrote back this very angry letter denouncing him and the western and what that movie. And Clint said, he just. Never wrote back. You never responded to John Wayne's letter. So, it's interesting because there is sometimes the John Wayne versus Clint Eastwood debate, and for me, the western genre is better that for them both being in it. Because we got plenty of great movies from those two. So I don't know. It's interesting to go back and watch those and see the evolution of the western and see the very clear black and white John Wayne kind of cowboy, and then the very kind of gray anti-hero Clint Eastwood character that he played so well and usually never had a name. I remember Jim Carrey always said the reason he thought that the man with no name had no name was so we could give him our own kind of name, we could give him our name. Because he was the kind of guy that wouldn't let bullies reside, and was a guy like kids in the playground would always want to be that kind of character, the man with no name, but to have that kind of spirit that Clint Eastwood's character has through the westerns, which is fantastic. And The Unforgiven again is just such a perfect way for him to end his western career, because it's almost like because he said he sat on that script for 10 years because he said I had to be older to play him. I couldn't play him originally like he was going to in 1982. He had to wait until the early 90s when he was a little bit older, and he has trouble getting back on that horse again, which is such a great scene, and not being able to fire the gun and not having his aim as proper, as his aim as true as it once was, which. A lot of audiences hadn't seen him in a western in, I don't know how many years it had been since between Unforgiven and his last western, but it had been
about a decade, because Pale Rider was early.
Yeah, and
early to mid '80s.
And so to see that, there's kind of like a wink and a nod in that movie, which is great, and it's fantastic.
The Last Ride of Clint Eastwood.
The Last Ride.
I hope not. The
as the western.
Yeah.
I think he's done, and I think that's a perfect. Way to do it.
A swan song.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's still American Sniper's kicking all kinds of ass at the box office.
And you saw that with your mom?
I did. Yeah, I saw it one more time because I wanted to see it again because I wanted to get out of my head a bit, because I didn't want to go in the first time with the thought of what was happening in the book, what was different, but I couldn't help it, and I wanted to go in a second time with none of that and just watch the movie again, because I am so much in awe of the character and the warrior fighting spirit of Chris Kyle. And so I took my mom and I had to warn her because she's very squeamish for certain things, and the movie doesn't pull its punches in that aspect. But it was very kind of not weird, but it was a little more emotional than the first time, because I'm sitting there with my mom, and my mom is somebody who's dealt with, the movie shows so well the other side of deployment. And my mom is somebody who's dealt with that as a daughter, who's dealt with that as a wife, and then very soon down the line here is going to be dealing it as a mother as well. So 3 different times, and so to see that and to sit next to her, knowing that a lot of that is stuff that she's gone through, gave it a bit more of a real emotional touch to it. It was sold out again as well, like just completely sold out. I mean, everywhere it's just selling out like crazy, and so it was good. I mean, it's I think it's a good movie, and it's important to see the story and to get interested in, maybe read the book, and if it makes you want to learn a little bit more about Chris Kyle's life, that's cool with me, and that's important in my book. So it was cool. But you guys, I know, actually saw movies you hadn't seen yet, which I know, Samuel, you saw.
I saw The Theory of Everything.
The Theory of Everything,
which is really good. It was a film that I didn't honestly have high hopes for. I wasn't very excited. But obviously Eddie Redmayne won Best Actor in a Drama at the Golden Globes, and Jake's been giving it rave reviews, and so I finally saw it, and it was really, honestly, it might be better than The Imitation Game. It's a tough draw.
It's close. It's very similar.
It hits the sentimentality and the emotions harder than The Imitation Game.
Yeah. In
terms of Imitation Game is on a larger scale because it's got you're dealing with World War II, where you don't really get too much into. I mean, you certainly talk a bit about the astrophysics that Stephen Hawking's kind of like develops, but that's not the focus at all.
No.
He's not like, I mean, there are scenes with him like working out on a chalkboard, but it's not like The Imitation Game where they're like they're racking their brains over this. It was but it's a very good film. And to kind of Jake and my metric is, would you buy it? Yes.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I know that you're very into kind of space and kind of some of that scientific things. Was Stephen Hawking a guy that you like admired as a kid or read a lot about, or?
It was yes, in a way. As a kid, obviously this was the actual mechanics of it was. Science is one of those. I think I don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast before. I'm not good at math. Plain straight up, I'm not good at math.
No.
And
me neither.
But I've always liked science. But I can only appreciate science on a conceptual level because I can't work it out. I can't follow that math. I was so surprised that I did as well in physics in high school that I did, and because that's the most math heavy. When it got to college, I took biology because there's no. At least with intro-level biology, there's no math required.
Oh, yeah, same here.
So I just burned through that as quickly as I could. In terms of... It was really more about Carl Sagan.
Okay.
Who was the mentor to Neil deGrasse Tyson. If you ever watched Cosmos, he had his own Cosmos series in the 80s. And this Pale Blue Dot by Sagan, or Contact, which later became a Jodie Foster, Matthew McConaughey film. That is who so I appreciated Hawking, but Sagan was a lot more approachable.
Okay.
That's
he definitely Sagan definitely had it was easier it seemed easier for him to explain things on a dumbed down level.
Yes.
So like it was definitely something that you could actually soak in and be like, "Oh, okay, I don't have to be an astrophysicist to understand this."
Astrophysics for dummies.
Yeah.
And it was great because I'm a dummy.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to astrophysics.
And Neil deGrasse Tyson carries on that same kind of legacy because he makes everything very simple.
Very digestible.
But you still feel like you're learning the entire thing just without needing the math degree to go along with it.
Yeah, you don't necessarily feel like condescended to either.
Exactly.
More so with Sagan than Tyson.
Yeah, I think Tyson's fed up with...
Tyson can get frustrated.
Yeah, specifically with like the religious right who seem to like to disregard science that's been proven in favor for what they're interpreting from thousands upon thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
And
Bill Nye too. Bill Nye it's interesting because Bill Nye
we got to grow up and see Bill Nye get
his evolution. We got to see Bill Nye become increasingly disenfranchised with the general public. Because as a kid, like in elementary school, watching Bill Nye the Science Guy, very friendly, very warm, like let's see how this works. Isn't this cool? And then
we're learning.
Yeah, and then we get into science rules, and then we get into our adulthood. as he gets deeper into his middle age, and he's just like, look, if you don't believe in evolution, that's fine, but could you please just like not affect your fucking kids? Like, it's watching this guy. Like, I imagine Bill Nye, like the way I see Bill Nye I see him as someone that's starting their work week, and he's as a kid. When I was a kid, that's how I saw him. Someone that's chipper. The job hasn't worn down on him. Yeah. This is like, now we're at a point where we're like 20 years into Bill Nye's public career, and he's at that point of his career for anyone that works a job for in some cases like a year, some cases 6 months, in his case 20 years, where he's just like, you can see him like with the coffee and the Tylenol, just like just shut up, just shut up. Like, this is
you're dumb, you're dumb, you're dumb, you're dumb, you're dumb, you're dumb.
Yeah, dinosaurs existed separate from humans. Like, please, the Earth is more than like several millennia old. It's been around for millions of years. How are you?
It's round.
Yeah, there's carbon dated rock. How is this even a God? Fuck you! Like, there's a level of frustration there. And so, yeah.
Well, I mean, clearly the dinosaur bones were hidden there by archaeologists so they would have a job.
Yeah. It's, God. And now, like, I mean, I could go on about, I try not to get political on this thing, but God, the stories I could tell, the venting I could do about the state of...
If we're going to be on this topic, did you saw the debate that he had with the Christian scientist?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Look it up if you haven't seen it.
The entire thing was Bill Nye going, well, here are facts, and here are things that we've proven, here are things that we know, blah, blah, blah. And then the other guy, whatever his name was, the entirety of it was, well...
The Bible says.
Well, not even that. Like, yes, he brought that up, of course, but like the majority of it was, well... there is some validity to my thought process. Not here are facts, here are things. It's just, well, I'm not crazy, and that was the rounding out of his entire
insanity.
Yeah, and it was like an hour-long debate, and pretty much he just found like 10 different ways to say, I'm not crazy. There is a chance that this is right.
Yeah.
Whereas Bill Nye is like, here are things. Let me explain how we know this stuff. Let me explain it to you in simple terms. Let me go on and on and on. He was teaching you things while debating this guy, whereas this other guy was just going, nah, 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 nah. I could be right.
Yeah, it's the quintessential, like, that's the big thing. It's just like, I'm not listening.
Yeah.
Which is our big problem. I think I'm going to get too political.
Yeah. That, and also Bill Nye was actually paying attention to him and would rebut things that he said in the moment.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, this other guy was, like, clearly just had, like, his whole prepared speech. And he was reading off of his slides, too.
Yeah.
Like, that was annoying. Like, Bill Nye was using his slides to support what he was talking about, whereas this guy was just, like, reading word for word. And I was like, you're the worst person in the world.
Once in grad school, there was this guy giving a lecture about uranium, like the preponderance of like uranium spread around the world. He's like, it's the next big struggle, and it's like, fuck you. But anyway, he handed out a double-sided sheet of paper, and it was like type 8 font, bullets, both sides, full side, and he just read straight from it.
Oh boy!
And so he, I'm following him as he's reading each data point as slowly and as monotonely as he can, and he gets to the other side, and I'm just like, oh, he's going for it. He's going to do both sides, just verbatim off this thing that I can read because I'm in fucking graduate school. And it was just like, well done. All right, I didn't think you were going to commit to this, but at this point, I'm not even offended. I'm impressed. But yeah.
On a completely different note.
Yeah, you saw a film that, yeah.
Yeah.
No astrophysics involved.
No. I treated myself to a dumb... funny movie, and not to say dumb as it wasn't enjoyable. I'm just saying, like, there was no intelligence required to watch it. You just sat down, turned off, and laughed, and it was great. And it's called The Wedding Ringer, and it was.
I like Kevin Hart's stand up,
and he does a great job with his character. He's a funny guy, and it's about him running this service to buy a best man, essentially, and the other lead in it
Josh Gad.
Yes, thank you. I always forget his name, and I was like, it's Gad, something Gad. Thank you. So Josh Gad, he has like no friends, so he actually has to go to Kevin Hart's character to get an entire groom's party, and so Kevin Hart pulls together this ragtag bunch of kids that, and by kids I mean adult men, but these guys, one of them being Alan Ritchson, who is Thad Castle if you watched Blue Mountain State, or Aquaman if you watched Smallville,
Or Raphael if you watch the new Ninja Turtles, but why would you?
Yeah.
We did.
I hate myself every day because of it. That's right.
I love Alan Richardson, but yeah, that's got to be one of the worst things he's ever done. No fault of his.
Yeah, it's not poor because of his involvement.
Yeah, no, it's everything else.
Who played Michelangelo?
But
Going back to the wedding ring.
yeah, it's hilarious. I can't think. It's been a couple days since I've seen it, so in theory, I'm out of the honeymoon phase. I still can't think of like a bad thing about it. It was just dumb fun, and that's what I go to a comedy for, and that's what I wanted that day. And what was even better was I went to the new Springfield Town Center, which got erected just a couple months ago, and I've been meaning to go because I grew up in Springfield Mall, so it was very sad to hear that it was getting torn down. Me and Dave Grohl saw eye to eye on that, and then to hear that they put up this town center, I was like, oh, I got to check it out. And now there's a movie theater back there, because the movie theater was one of the first things to close down when they were deciding to tear up.
That's where I
the
saw
mall.
Tomorrow Never Dies.
Yeah, that's where I saw a lot of things. True Lies. I saw True Lies there.
It's Mark Wahlberg. He just did.
Yeah, I know, right? It's the trees, guys. But yeah, so it is a beautiful theater, and actually, dare I say, it's a beautiful mall, because it's definitely not a town center. When I think of town center,
It's like a strip mall.
Yeah, I think of an open place, kind of like what Fairfax Corner is, what Fairfax Town Center is. This is still a self-contained building, just like a mall. It's still very unpopulated by stores. You got the department stores, the anchor
Which
stores.
were the only things that stayed open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's still got the JCPenney's, the Macy's, the Target's still there, a couple other things. Auntie Anne's back in there. That was probably like the first thing to open up.
Yeah, they're all about those pretzels.
Yeah, and then you got your like staple mall things like Victoria's Secret, Bed Bath and Beyond, those things.
Does it have a Mrs. Fields?
I'm sure it does.
Mrs. Fields Baking Factories, fun to make, so fun to eat.
I have a song.
Yeah, because remember they came out with an oven, an easy bake oven, not unlike
The Easy Bake Oven.
well, not unlike the creepy crawlers
Right.
oven.
Creepy crawlers.
Here, you want a quick story about me and creepy crawlers?
Sure.
I mean,
Yes.
you're gonna.
I mean,
give it away.
I feel like that's what you call your junk.
Yeah, but so in elementary school, obviously creepy crawlers like populated the motherfucking commercials on like Nickelodeon and all that. And so I wanted a creepy crawler oven. And my parents got me one for Christmas. But there was a crack in the plastic border, and they're like, and I was like, oh, it's still fine. It's still fine. They're like, no, we'll return it. Or we'll exchange it. And they exchanged it for one that apparently what had happened was somebody had constructed that, and they probably saw that it was cracked, and they exchanged it or returned it. So the one they exchanged it for was unassembled, and they looked at it and they're like, "Oh, you don't want this, Sam." And I was like, "No, I want this." And they're like, "No, you don't want this, Sam." And then they returned it. And I never had
Never
I never had a creepy crawler.
My sisters had an Easy Bake Oven, but I never got the creepy crawler one. Nah,
Probably better for it.
probably.
Yeah.
Uh,
I say this with
I mean,
regret.
I mean,
and
I
heavy
tried.
heart.
I tried like the brownies and stuff like that they would make, and they would be terrible.
Just like Mrs. Fields Baking Factory.
I like Mrs. Fields.
Not fun to bake, not fun to eat. But unless you're at the mall.
Yeah, I like the big cookie cakes. Those are
Sure,
great.
yeah.
Anyway, so yeah,
That's
so,
all that's really in there?
Yeah. Most of the
Few
stores.
boutique food places in the department stores?
Mhm, yeah, most of the new stores haven't moved in yet, because like I said, I think it's only been open
About
for
2
business
months.
for about 2 months. Yeah, but the movie theater, it's so money. It's got
Cash money.
it's got the assigned seating, which you guys know I'm not a huge fan of. But you go in to see a movie in a small group or just by yourself, and like everyone's
I think
there.
that's the way of the theater now.
Yeah, and like I'll adapt to it. You know, I've learned how to order tickets for groups. But anyway, they have these new super big, like, fat ass seats. They're super soft, and you just kind of sit down and you just become one with the chair, and it's like you're getting a hug from the movie theater. And then it's got this little gizmo. You got to find the button, which was kind of annoying initially to find the button, but you press the button and it kicks the feet out for you and leans the back so you're, you know, reclined. But once you get the right spot, you could easily fall asleep in those seats, which waste of money. But
yeah,
if you're
$10 nap,
yeah, 13
now, yeah, not
cash money.
But and it had a little tray that popped out in front of you, so you felt like you were eating a TV dinner. Which I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the tray, because I'm a big guy, and it was still kind of high for me. Like, I had to push the tray out and just kind of hold my popcorn in my lap. So I don't know how, like, normal size people are gonna fit well with these trays. I think most people are gonna be doing the same thing that I did, and just kind of use the tray as a holding area for their stuff that they don't want to hold in their hands. But it was nice, and then it was 2-seat pairs, and you could lift up the armrest in between, so you could, like, use it as, like, a big, comfy snuggle couch.
Right. Now, in terms of, like, because I mentioned Kevin Hart's stand-up earlier, you've been watching. You saw all of Louis C.K.'s stand-up?
Yeah. I had seen. Help me here, Sam. I had seen.
Hilarious?
No, no. We had watched before New York Comic Con. We had watched.
Oh My God.
Yeah, Oh My God.
Yeah.
Which you had seen him on tour, like at...
yeah, because he basically does, when he writes a comedy set, that's the same set he does for an entire tour, and then he scrapes the material and starts fresh for the next.
Which some comedians don't do, you know. And
some keep their bits.
And he's very much that school of thought, which I think is cool.
Yeah, his thought process is, you know, if you stick to, like, bits, like certain hallmarks, your fans will see you, they'll love it, but they won't ever come again.
Yeah.
Because they've seen it.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I had not seen Hilarious at the time, and I watched that one, and that one is like, fucking,
that's hilarious.
Yeah, that's like fucking Sergeant Pepper, man. He was on fire during that thing.
Yeah,
just unbelievable stuff, and he really is unlike any other stand-up comedian I've ever watched. And it's not like this whole like, oh, he's, because it's Louis C.K., man, he's the greatest of all time. It's just he is unlike anything else with his, like, his delivery, his faces, and he always does this thing where, like, he just lets himself go. You know, he'll keep a thing going and just get a reaction.
Take it as deep as it can.
Just
dark.
why not? Why not? And then he'll spin it back on the crowd like, no, fuck you. Like that.
You're the weird ones.
Yeah,
you're laughing at this.
Yeah.
I love the way that, like you were saying, his delivery, like, it always seems like he's making it up as he goes along, which is a great thing. Like any comedian that can like pull that over you, because all these things are written. Like, yeah, they're you know, the moments where they'll modify a joke, or they'll, you know, someone will pop into their head, but like his entire bit, you know, or his entire special seems like, you know, this is the first time he's thought of it, and it's wonderful, and I think that's the sign of a professional comedian, and he's one of the guys that has that perfected.
Oh yeah, and I think also if you write down his show in like a skit, as a monologue, and had another comedian read it, the beats wouldn't be in the same place. Like, he just finds these weird beats and these weird,
the comedies and the timing and the delivery.
Yeah, and he does it in just this way that makes me laugh, which is obvious because he's a stand-up comedian. That's what you're supposed to do, but it makes me laugh really hard. And so I had watched that, and then Chewed Up, and was it Live at the Beacon? Was that the
Live at the Beacon Theater?
Yeah. And
the first one he sold digitally.
Yeah, and so I had watched, and I rewatched. Oh my God, Sam and I guess I don't know if we were dealing with the basement or something, and we could use a pick me up, and it was Louis C.K.
I think we had just moved all the furniture back after they resealed.
Oh
the
yeah,
foundation.
that's right. And so he's a funny motherfucker, man, and his whole thing of like not being PC is great because I don't know, he just doesn't feel the need for that, and comedy doesn't really need that either, you know. And he's also like a very much a student of it. like you were saying, in the timing and of the delivery. It's not just writing a joke and going up there. There is an art to it, and he's an example of it, and that's why he's rightfully so seen as like the best stand-up comedian out right now.
Would you say Hilarious is the best?
I'd say Hilarious is. And that one is just, and I'd seen clips of it before, here and there, but I could just watch. I could just throw any of those on and just laugh my ass off. It's just he's so next level funny. And the weird thing is, like, I like Louis. But as much as I love his stand-up, I'm not like I don't love Louis like I thought I would.
Mm-hmm. The TV show,
the TV show, not the person. yeah. Thank you.
He is awful.
Yeah, I do not know Louis.
Oh man, I wish
in real life.
I wish I had run into him at least once while I was living up in New York.
Just got to go to the Comedy Cellar more.
Yeah,
that's where he workshops his material.
It's so expensive to go there all the time.
It's like $25. Yeah.
Yeah, and like a 2-drink minimum, if I remember correctly.
It's It's a 2-item minimum.
Oh yeah.
On top of like a $20 charge.
I barely had enough money to live there, let alone entertain myself.
Yeah. In the Greenwich Village food prices, come on.
Yeah.
But how great would it be if they had a Louis C.K. pop figure? Would you buy it?
I would.
Yeah.
What line of pops? What would you want the next line? Would it be Eastwood Legends?
I would, honestly. Like, I would love, like, here we go. Let me go down the line again. You'd have the man with no name. So you'd have the poncho and the cigar and stuff, and the revolver. And I'd have him. The pose I would have him in is where when he just has his gun out when he kills Angel Eyes in the end at the Mexican stand-up.
Yeah.
If you watch that scene again, the way he does, because it's like this 8-minute long stare down.
Yeah.
And with the music building and the shot in the eyes, and every Western that you've ever seen owes something to that because it takes from that. Like the great shots of the close-ups. Yeah. And so he grabs his gun when the music finally stops, and he kills Angel Eyes. And when Angel Eyes dies, he dies and rolls right into an open grave. But the way I don't know what it is. I don't know if I'm just like going psycho about this. The way he just pulls the gun out and shoots so nonchalantly is like the coolest Clint Eastwood thing. It's
the definition of shooting from the hip.
It's so fucking cool. And so I would have that as the pop figure. But anyway, yeah, of course, Dirty Harry, you do with like the kind of the bigger hair. I have a hot dog in his hand with a 44 Magnum and the shades.
Hot dog without ketchup.
Yeah, which always broke my heart because I always ate ketchup.
No, me too.
I always ate hot dogs with ketchup and mustard sometimes, both. But in Sudden Impact, he like rails a guy for being a disgusting man for putting ketchup on a hot dog. And when I saw that on the when I was watching it for the first time,
you're sitting
when
there
I was a little
eating
kid,
a hot dog with ketchup.
Oh,
it just slips out of the
bun.
bun.
You're thrown it against the window. I was so
Fuck you,
devastated.
Eastwood.
Fuck you, Clint.
Run into your room.
Yeah. But I still eat hot dogs with ketchup. But it just breaks.
I take them plain.
Yeah, oddly enough,
breaks my heart.
I used to do ketchup all the time, and now I've pretty much gone to plain.
Oh, I do ketchup and mustard. And chili and cheese.
I do. Well, I do love a good chili cheese dog.
Oh, chili cheese dog's where it's at. But and then I would have Any Which Way But Loose because you would get you get Clyde.
Oh yeah. So you wouldn't do Philo Beto, the name of his character. Yeah. You would get Clyde.
Well, no, you get both. Like, but you have to buy. You'd have to. That'd be like one where it's like you can get Clyde or you can get Any Which Way But Loose, Every Which Way But Loose, Clint. Where he's crushing a peanut in his hand.
Yeah,
while flexing. That'd be like he's got the and then you'd have
those are some of the coolest posters though.
Oh,
as much as we talk shit about those movies,
posters are great.
The posters are fucking awesome.
Oh yeah, Pale Rider's one of my favorite ones. My favorite posters. Anyway, but the other Western I would do because some of them they're not generic, but they're not technically really enough going on to really.
They don't look that much different.
But the one I would definitely do is Outlaw Josie Wales because he has that great scar.
And
on
he's
his
got
face.
The bandana.
Yeah. And
he's got
the
scream,
the snarl he's got going on with that great poster.
Unforgiven, I feel like would be good too.
Unforgiven, you can have younger.
He's got the white hair.
Yeah, you could have younger. But
William Bonney.
Yeah, and then you would definitely have to have Walt Kowalski
from Gran Torino.
Yep, with the beer.
With the M1.
You get M1 or the beer.
The Milwaukee's finest.
Yeah. But I was trying to think. I think that'd be it for Clint Eastwood Legends.
But
right?
would that be the pop?
Oh hell yeah! They did a Mini Mates. The Mini Mites or Mini Mites.
Yeah.
They did.
You gave me 3 of them.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, the ones
they did.
Computer.
They did.
At work, nobody's complimented me on my Mini Mates
fucking
yet.
Jerk offs. They've done. They did.
I should position them so
they should. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just staring at your coworkers.
What I think I might do is I might bring in a candy dish because
Uh-huh.
I get a lot of students coming through.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Would you like some
yeah,
candy?
would you like a Kit Kat bar or something?
Yeah.
Take a candy from a stranger.
Dude, Kit Kats would be good.
And I would, yeah, I think so. And I would have my Metaluna mutant behind the candy dish. So if they reach for it, they have to make eye contact.
You
with
have to, yeah. And
Yeah.
you're just staring at you.
Just look at me.
But they had the
look at his
Mini-Mites.
exposed brains.
They had the Mini-Mite Man with No Name. Like
Oh, cool.
they had the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly Mini-Mites.
Nice.
So, but yeah, I would, hell yes, do some.
That's
Clint
the one
Eastwood.
that you want.
Yes.
Over Krellin and Master Roshi.
Well, they're gonna happen. Like maybe not Master Roshi. You know,
All these porno, man.
yeah, I'm obsessed with women's underwear.
Every time I have an erection, my nose bleeds.
yeah,
Do they have King Kai?
it like sprays
No, I
out of his
wish.
nose.
Okay,
Oh,
okay.
Sprays out of his
Oh,
nose.
Be another good one.
Yeah, because I was about to say if they have King Kai, but they don't have like Master Roshi or Krillin, like I'd be like, what are you, what Funko? What are you doing with your life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, if they come out with a Master Roshi, that's I want
they
that
gotta
one.
have it.
Cow.
Oh, and then
Well,
also
that's King Kai. Boy.
That's
Yeah.
what I meant. That's
Yeah.
what I meant.
also
King Kai is so cool.
where Eagles Dare Eastwood.
Oh yeah. World War II Eastwood.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so yeah,
Would he be like in the Nazi uniform?
yeah, but like you know,
How
you-
weird would that be?
Well, no, you could get it without the actual symbols. You would know. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
with the pips and stuff. Like, you know, because he wears it in the movie, but
Yeah.
he's not obviously not a
Just
Nazi.
has like the Third Reich eagle, but it doesn't have the swastika.
He has the
obviously-
Iron Cross. But
He's obviously not a
swastika.
Nazi. You know, he's it's like
Yeah, he's
going undercover
clearly-
and stuff.
He's clearly B.J. Blazkowicz from Castle Wolfenstein,
Yeah.
killing Nazis by the gross. Man, he kills so many Nazis in that movie. It's
He does.
awesome.
He does. How about you, then, Chris? Or yeah, Chris. Yeah. I pointed to Sam. How fucking weird. I was like, how about Chris? Sam.
These guys that I've known for several years.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything that I know that they haven't made a pop figure of that I would want. Like I'm not crazy about the pop figures. Like they're cute, but they look too much like bobbleheads, and they don't bobble. So like
Some
that.
do.
Oh well,
Like the Marvel.
Most
ones.
Marvel ones
Yeah.
do.
Yeah,
I hope
well,
my
that-
Ghost Rider one doesn't. That'd be weird. Ghost Rider's head
that's-
shouldn't bobble.
the flames should.
Yeah. Light his actual head on fire. Kids don't do that.
But but one that I know has come out that I would like is probably some of the Back to the Future ones, like the Back to the Future 2, where Marty has the future
Hoverboard.
Yeah, the 2015 Back to the Future 2, where he's got the hoverboard, and I think he's got the oily cap
Yeah.
and the self drying.
Does he have the pockets
jacket.
out?
He better. If he doesn't, then I don't want it.
And he isn't hip.
Yeah, that's what the kids do in 2015.
I want James Bond pops.
Yes.
Oh, they don't have James Bond pops? Because that popped into my head, but I was like, I'm sure they've got that.
Just to double check.
They should. They at least they should
Well,
have one
here's the
inspired by
thing.
each actor.
I thought they had a Dirty Harry pop. I could have sworn, but
Yeah.
I've been looking and I can't find it anywhere. Like I thought, for out of all the characters he had done, they would have
Yeah.
had that. Dude,
Or-
James Bond pop. All right.
Yeah.
Now, because it's funny, I'm looking at the 50th James Bond 50th anniversary like Blu-ray box set.
They do not exist.
How
Oh,
would
I just don't do
you
that.
differentiate between each Bond? Would you have them in like all in the same suit? Would you have like
And who says they just have to be Bond?
okay
Odd Job,
well, yeah,
Jaws,
them definitely have
Bond
Jaws and
girls.
Odd Job and
Pussy Galore.
and Pussy Galore and
That'd be a weird
Goldfinger.
one, like the box.
have Lashif with the
bleeding.
blood.
Yeah.
But like, how would you differentiate
Yeah,
Bond? Like,
Bleep galore.
would you
Miss
Bleep
Galore.
yeah, just galore.
Would you have like Connery in the white tux, like with the white top to
Oh,
different
like Goldfinger?
Yeah.
I would do.
And have Roger Moore actually like sitting there with his martini, even though he never ordered it.
Yeah. I don't know. Shit. I would have probably Spy Who Loved Me, Roger Moore, so he would
Nice.
be in his naval
Yeah.
uniform.
Handsome man.
Yeah, I would have Lazenby has to be in his kilt.
It gotta be.
Mm.
Yeah, because once that's seen, it can't be unseen.
No. License
Either,
to Kill,
that or
Who would want to unsee it?
either that or honestly another alternate for Lazenby is his ski outfit,
Of course.
the
Yeah.
blue jumpsuit.
Yeah.
For Connery, yeah, it would probably be white tux from the beginning.
I'm trying to think
Goldfinger.
for like two for each, because another Connery one you could do was like the Dr. No
Oh,
blue with the
blue
khaki.
polo?
Yeah. And then like you said, Lazenby, you have the two for
Other Roger Moore would be what, Moonraker spacesuit?
yeah, because I mean he's in
Yeah.
space. I mean
Mhm.
yeah.
Come on.
Come on, he's in space.
For-
Come
for-
on, what are you doing
For
here?
Pierce Brosnan, you could have that tactical turtleneck that he was rocking in GoldenEye.
Kind of like, yeah, where he's,
Yeah.
almost like Woody bungee jumps off the
Yeah.
dam.
Oh, yeah.
That's the first thing that I think of whenever I think of GoldenEye.
Yeah. And I
Because
think
that scene's so cool.
either that or the end scene where he's kind of got like that vest, like the jungle gear.
Yeah.
I feel like those, that covers Brosnan pretty well. For Dalton,
For Dalton, I would throw this one out. This would be a con exclusive.
yeah.
Battle Damage, License to Kill, Dalton.
Oh, at the end of
Because when he's just like the bloodied and like the ripped up shirt
Yeah.
and everything,
And-
he's got the
and-
lighter.
Yeah.
And he would be casual Bond.
Yeah,
You
the
know,
most
like-
casual pop.
Well,
Bond.
the other one, the non-con exclusive would be where he's got like the jacket, like in Tangier, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Where he's running around there. For Daniel Craig, I feel like you'd have to do the swimsuit.
Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
Con
Well,
exclusive.
and-
Con exclusive would
Yeah.
be the swimsuit.
Swimsuit Craig.
Well,
Yeah.
and also, forgive me if I'm wrong, but he has like lighter hair, so it would be a lot easier
It would.
to differentiate Craig.
Yeah.
And also, he is the most recent as of right now.
I feel like
and then
most
have
of-
like a con exclusive Idris Elba.
Yeah. If only.
Yeah, the fantasy Bond.
But the thing you could do also is like because I was saying they get across so much of the facial features without having actual facial features. Like excuse me, Dalton's would obviously have the more angry eyebrows, or Moore wouldn't have that as much because
Moore would be smirking.
he
He would
be
have a
smirking.
raised eyebrow.
Yeah.
And Lazenby would be almost laughing.
And I think the Bond one, like the Bond one, the Sean Connery one, you'd have to have like the Almost From Russia with Love, the classic
Yeah.
pose, because then it's
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. But the other Craig one, would you because you have the
I feel like
swimsuit
open collar because most of Quantum of Solace he's rocking an open collar.
Quantum of Solace. He looks very comfortable in Quantum of Solace.
Yeah.
He's bringing back the casual.
Yeah, he's looking good. He's looking good.
What Craig. What's yes, Craig. What outfits?
You live in the East Village.
What what's like outstanding outfits? I mean, you have to they could all be in
Maybe
tuxes at
the
least once.
end of Casino Royale where he's got the MP5 after he shoots Mr. White in the.
Oh yeah. He utters the immortal line.
for
Yeah,
the first time.
that's such a good movie. I love that movie
Yeah.
so much. But yeah, I think we did the pop figures.
Yeah.
They've never done Beatles ones, have
Funko, they have.
they? They have.
I know for sure they did like
I know there's
Yellow
many,
Submarine.
Yeah, there's many mates for
like
Yellow
cartoon.
Submarine.
Yeah. Well, I want like Ed
But
Sullivan
I don't know
era.
if- I don't know
want
if they've
Sergeant
done,
Pepper
like,
era.
proper-
I want Abbey Road. I want
I had-
Rooftop era.
I like full disclosure. So, I like to write fan fiction,
Okay.
and I wrote a fanfic Beatles, an animated adventure.
Wait. How have I never heard about this?
Okay, bear with me. Bear with
Okay.
me. So in this, it's Mean Mr. Mustard teams up with Mr. Kite to take over the world. Because remember, in being for the benefit of Mr. Kite wants to take over the fucking Earth. Or like they sing about it.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I have to get Beatles.
I want the Chief
Yeah,
Blue
sorry,
Meanie.
I
Cheap
just
Blue Meanie
looked up
pop.
the Beatles Funko Pop, and they're definitely they definitely have ones based on the Yellow Submarine cartoon movie, and it's all four Beatles, the Blue Meanie, and it also has
The Captain.
the Captain. Yeah,
Chief Blue Meanie, man.
but yeah, that looks
the
that looks
inspiration
like it-
for Mark Hamill's joke.
Yeah.
that looks like it for the Beatles.
Yeah, that's always. Yeah.
Oh wait, hold on. Oh, wow. Oh, they have black and white versions of them as well.
Sweet.
For like when
Yeah.
they get hit by the Blue Meanie thing and they lose their
Their color.
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
Okay, go.
So my
Right, sorry, back to
my
your fan fiction.
Yeah, my all important fan fiction. I had conceived the idea when Disney was originally planning to remake a CGI motion capture Yellow Submarine.
That's right.
Which unfortunately didn't end up happening because Polar Express and
Fortunately.
I was looking forward. I
I
mean,
I've sat through Magical Mystery Tour, and that movie's garbage. Like objectively, it's garbage. Though you get to see them play "I Am the Walrus." How
Yeah.
cool is that? Oh god, that movie sucks. But anyway, so me and Mr. Mustard teams up with Mr. Kite to take over the world, and it creatively would take place during the recording of the Let It Be. It would be during the Get Back sessions where the band is at their most fractious.
yes.
And so they're forgetting why they're a band at the first place. And this threat comes up. And so they kind of go to stop him because of course, like Jeremy shows up with the sub and they go back to take him down, and it's such a big threat that they have to team up with the Beatles from every era.
Yes.
So it's Mop Top Beatles, Sgt. Pepper's Beatles, and like White Album era and Yellow Submarine Beatles, because they,
Do each one have like a skill set? Does each Beatles group?
Well, no, but the teams mash.
Okay. They form like a giant robot, like in Power Rangers.
Yes, yeah, yes. You get White Album era John Lennon with his wavy hair, swinging a sword like Conan the Barbarian. No, but like so you get like long-haired John Lennon teaming up with Mop Top Ringo Starr, teaming up with groovy George Harrison, teaming up with what's it? Sgt. Pepper, Paul McCartney.
Okay.
And that it like those kind of mashups with teams.
Yeah.
And in doing so you've got the entire Beatles discography at least up to Let It Be. I think I might have had segments for Abbey Road, because obviously me and Mr. Mustard's from Abbey Road.
Yes.
And I just didn't give a fuck. I'm writing it. I decide what goes into it. And in doing so, they remember, so obviously they save the day.
Mm-hmm.
They remember why they're a band, and then at the end, it ends with them returning to their own time doing the rooftop concert.
It'd be awesome.
I don't know how we got on this tangent.
It's Beatles, man. You don't need a tangent for the Beatles. I had no idea that you'd ever did that, though.
Yeah, it was my love letter to the Beatles, because I was like, maybe if Yellow Submarine is a success and they're looking for where to take it next.
Yeah.
I feel like Disney was looking to make the Beatles like a Disney franchise, and I was like, that would be so cool. But obviously it didn't.
I know, that's a bummer. I was looking
not that
forward to
they would have optioned my fanfic anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I have a sudden urge to call Sam Stone on the phone. I don't know who this is, but
just like Stallone casting me for the Expendables 3.
That's the best. Casting you for Expendables 3.
That's what have made that movie take off.
He saw you on the floor at New York Comic Con and was like, I need him.
This guy right here.
This one.
Yeah.
The movie tanks.
The crowd parted and the seas opened up.
Because he's only like, what, 5'7", 5'8"?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I saw a man and I was like, yeah, I want you in the movie.
I just see like...
if you ever been in the con, it's loud, a lot of...
Yeah, a lot of people, crowds.
You just hear, him. And then you just see everyone moves out of the way, and Stallone is just pointing at you, and you're like, yeah. And then you're like being drawn to him, gliding to him. You're not even walking. You're like, who cares? This is awesome.
Oh man, this one's gonna be.
Yeah, you want to be in a movie?
Yeah. Is it Driven 2, please?
Yeah, I'd be in Driven 2.
I would be in Over the Top 5.
I'd be in Stop or My Grandma Will Shoot.
You son of a bitch! You were able to say it before.
Oh, did I? Okay.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, I'd be in any Stallone movie, man.
Yeah, yeah. Give me a sequel to Victory. Call it V2.
Yeah.
where I form the two.
Can be the V.
Yeah. And I'm the two.
Contour my body to form a two.
Yeah. I'll do whatever you want, Stallone. Hey, make yourself a E or a two. It's better that way.
Yeah. You want to be in Fist. Fist 5.
I want to be in Creed. Let's go to Philadelphia. He's filming Creed right now.
Yeah, God, road trip.
Did you hear about that story where these two friends, ran up the stairs, the famous Rocky stairs in front of the art museum? No shit. When they got to the top of the stairs, Stallone was there.
Like, now that you've made
it.
You've passed to the promised land. If you hold your breath the whole way up, you'll be enlightened.
And so, like... And I've ran to the top of the steps before, and like I'm not in shape, but like I was winded, man. Like
it's harder than it looks.
It is harder than it looks. I mean, granted, it's just steps, but you'd be surprised. And they got to the top, and it was just like a 1 in a million chance that Stallone was actually there, and they were like, "What are you doing here?"
I would love. Like, he's turned away from them, and they get to the top of the stairs, and he just perfect timing, just turns around, and he's like, what's up?
How's it going?
Well done.
He has 2 Kit Kats in his hands.
Hey, you want a Kit Kat?
Yeah. He just happens to turn around right as they're hitting the last step, and they're just like,
yeah. Holy shit!
And then they fall down like a slinky.
Yeah, you want to break this Kit Kat bar?
Get that bar.
You know why they call them Southpaws?
Yeah, it's Southpaw, South Jersey, Southpaw, South Campton. But yeah, they turned, and Stallone was there. They got a picture.
Yeah, let's get Stallone legend pop
and
figures.
So, fuck yeah! I mean, they got Rocky.
Rocky.
They'll probably do Rambo. Yeah, I have Dread. But
Do they have Cobra?
They have
Oh
Predator.
my God, that'd be awesome.
I'm pretty sure they have Predator ones, which is basically Rocky.
Well,
if you know your history.
Yeah. It was they were one of the proposed scripts for the 5th Rambo film was basically Predator.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah,
Right,
it was like an
escape
genetic experiment in the Arctic.
Apparently Alien was like originally like shopped around as Rocky like 5 or 6.
I don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but Rocky was originally a member of the G.I. Joes.
Yeah.
He was originally their boxing trainer.
Oh, really?
They even had the
I
merchandising
think
ready
you
for
mentioned
it.
that to me,
Yeah.
but not necessarily on the show.
I didn't know that.
80s, like we're talking peak Stallone, peak Rocky. This is pre-Rocky 5. And,
Maximum Stallone.
Yeah, he's owns the fucking 80s. He's got 2 of the highest grossing, like not counting Every Which Way But Loose, of like that period. And Rocky 4 is still the highest grossing sports film if you adjust for inflation. And Hasbro approached him, and they were like, we want to incorporate Rocky Balboa into the G.I. Joe verse. And he was going to be their boxing trainer, and they had merchandising ready, like packaging ready for his inevitable action figure. And at the last minute, they didn't come to terms, I guess, on like money or likeness or whatever, or licensing, and so it fell through. But if you search online, you can see the proposed packaging and stuff for it. Pretty cool.
And you can try to search for Stallone's pudding.
Yeah, which is I can't even find on eBay.
I know. I remember like I would
Stallone protein pudding.
I would check Stallone's like webpage. Like he had his like web. This is like way early internet, and he was like advertising for it. I was like, I got plenty of time to buy protein pudding. I don't have plenty of time to buy protein pudding.
I'll wait until I'm an adult and I have my own.
Because I remember when Sam and I found out that he was going to be at New York Comic Con 2 years ago, it was like the greatest thing in the world.
Even though it was $450.
But then when we found out how much money it was unfortunate. I couldn't do it. But I would have loved to have had like a box of that pudding and have him sign that and be like, thank you.
Because he's originally from what, Hell's Kitchen?
Yeah, he's from Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
He's Daredevil.
Yeah.
But
he's Daredevil's boxing coach.
Yeah, that would be so cool.
Well, I mean, he's already got the boxing shit down.
Yeah. What
have
if
him play
what-
Matt Murdock or Jack Murdock?
Yeah. Howling Mayhem.
Fuck yeah, have him play Jack Murdock.
That would be so cool.
Yeah, Marvel.
Yeah. Too bad the production on your fucking Daredevil series is over. Maybe if you flashback. I don't know.
Yeah, bring him back. He's more Daredevil than anybody else.
Yeah, please.
He's known as a boxer, and he's from fucking Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
Christ.
He just needs to go blind.
Yeah.
Yeah. And be like 30 years younger.
Yeah.
Because he turns 69 this year.
69, man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
He's the man. I love Stallone.
He's great.
More Stallone pop figures too.
Stallone pop figures.
Copland pop figure.
Copland.
He's got the gut.
Cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger would be fantastic.
Oh yeah.
With like the monkey on his back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Real quick, what's some other pops?
Or was that
his version of Dredd?
His version of Dredd, yeah, which wouldn't be too different,
Without
but you'd have
the helmet.
You'd have the cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, let it happen. Fine, fuck it.
Just for that figure.
That's the main.
Well, removable
difference.
helmet.
Yeah,
removable
yeah.
helmet.
Oh, yeah,
He with blue eyes, bright blue eyes. Someone did this really cool thing where they drew Dredd without a helmet. And this is the only time I've ever been super cool with it. Where it's young Clint Eastwood, because Clint Eastwood inadvertently was the inspiration for Judge Dredd, because John Wagner in 2000 AD and co. saw kind of the Dirty Harry culture, where it was a time, and Dirty Harry was very much a product of, like we said, the Zodiac murders, but also the idea of the people saw it as the victims were not victims anymore. It was the criminals were having more rights than the victims, and Dirty Harry was just this response to that, and that was to a mega level, Mega City 1 level, hey ho, was the was what became basically Judge Dredd. So Judge Dredd was kind of like the futuristic Dirty Harry. So I thought that was kind of cool. Someone drew like a not a young, but like Dirty Harry era, like mid 40-year-old Clint Eastwood as Judge Dredd was kind of cool. And like there's always been a part of me that like whenever I'd read Dredd, there's because I never really read comic characters as like certain actors usually, you know, like I don't actually read Kevin Conroy as Batman.
I do.
But and nothing against Kevin Conroy, I just don't.
Yeah.
But there's always been a hint of Clint Eastwood with Dredd, and I think part of that is because of the Dirty Harry connection. So
yeah. Yeah, but
Get on it, Funko.
yeah, we await your.
Well, there are you can make custom Funkos.
Oh.
But you have to they send you basically what I've heard like a blank one.
Yeah.
Excuse me, and you might be able to get some accessories or something.
Yeah.
But then you basically paint it.
Oh, that's not the same.
Yeah, I mean maybe down the line they'll have the custom stuff. You
Kinda
know,
like build
it'll be
a
like
bear, but
like
build a Funko.
for $50 if you could go online and create your own Funko, would you do it? Like, and
Just
when I
yes.
mean like create your own, it looks like the real deal. Like it's like it looks like Funko made that one. You know what I mean?
Electric Blue Superman.
That's what you would do for $50. The one time only, not like hey, this is you got one time $50 Funko custom. What are you going with?
Just the one?
This is how we're ending
like
it.
in
This is how
all
we're
of
ending it.
heaven and earth?
This is all of heaven and earth, and whatever you say goes because that's how serious we are.
I mean, I already said Electric Blue Superman.
Electric Blue Superman. Okay, you're stuck.
I am stuck with Electric
I have him
Blue
staring
Superman.
at me constantly in the Geek Out cave.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Remind me. I think I don't know if I still have the blue, but I have the little red Superman.
Wait, they already exist?
No, not Pop.
Oh.
settle
ruined
down.
your wish.
Settle down. No.
You saw the look in my eyes.
It's
You
like a
guys at
little.
home can't
It's like a little
appreciate-
mini thing, like this big, like
Oh.
about an inch or two big.
Okay.
I'll show it to you at home, whatever. But what about you, Chris? What's your $150?
Birdman.
Birdman.
Harvey Birdman or Birdman?
No.
Birdman?
Bird like Michael Keaton.
Michael
Birdman.
Keaton Birdman. Okay, I would do. Actually, going on that, 1989 Michael Keaton Batman.
If I'm gonna be,
Ooh.
if I have to be,
They should make those.
Yeah.
Man. Make
If-
the movie ones.
If I have to be completely honest,
yes.
Nope, too late.
I'll give you. No, I'll give you.
No.
You get one. You get one. Everyone gets one.
Space Ghost.
Yeah, okay.
I
They
feel
have
like
a
they
space-
have. I feel like they have a Space Ghost.
And it's going to be cheaper than 50, I would think. I don't know.
God, please.
But all right. Well, while Sam's checking that out, I think it's probably a good time to wrap it up.
Yeah.
yeah.
Wrap it up,
Yeah,
and go watch Every Which Way But Loose.
Don't.
Go watch
I own it, but don't.
Mad Max, Fury Road.
Fury Road, 2015 belongs
They
to
do
the
not.
Mad.
They do not yet.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Oh no. Never mind.
Okay.
Never mind.
All right. Well,
Well,
Boner diminished.
good night,
point
Eric
denied.
Bana.
Yeah. Thank you very much. It's been real.
Ciao.